Welcome, Gemini. On March the 3rd, a total lunar eclipse in the practical Virgo provides a dynamic backdrop for the next 6 months. Historically, eclipses are seen as being fated events and do create an enormous amount of tension. I'm going to help to guide you through this next half year, not by giving you a general overview, by specifically looking at your chart for when that eclipse occurs, understanding the importance of your ruling planet, but also the location of the moon, which is very close to a fixed star called Zosma, which does have a reputation for being rather pessimistic. So, how do you work with this energy? I'm going to outline it all for you, Gemini, to give you a clear picture of what you can expect as far as relationships, money, career, and energy over the next half year. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now. Eclipses occur in series, Gemini, and this is the fourth of a series of seven. The first one occurred on the 18th of September 2024 in the shimmering sign of Pisces, and Neptune, which is very much to do with impressions and can be a very subtle, powerful, but distorting influence, was very close to that moon. If you did experience over the following 6 months some uncertainty around your career or professional situation, it wouldn't be a surprise. But over the next 6 months, you actually have an enormous opportunity around that very area, and things will be much less confused than they were then. And I'm going to show you why. I'm also going to give you the opportunity to download my brilliant eclipse guide, Lunar Eclipse Guide, which will tell you about this blood moon, also the historical and also mythological background of a Virgo moon. I'm also going to give you the astronomical science behind the eclipse as well. So please stay with me for that too. So on the screen, you can see the moon is at 12 degrees and 53 in the practical Virgo. So let's just think about the moon in Virgo for you. The moon can be about how we feel, of course, but it can be, particularly in the fourth house, very much our home environment. If you're someone who's got everything at home very ordered and it works in a metronomically and systematic, efficient way, then I don't feel that's going to be your area of activity. If, however, you are more relaxed, then for sure you may find yourself making some modifications to your approach. But the moon, remember, can be about emotion. And because you're an air sign, and therefore you enjoy most communicating, it is much more from a mental viewpoint. For example, the moon in your zodiac sign is said to be in Peregrine. You don't quite know what to do with it because you enjoy that cerebral, intellectual interface more than the feeling side of things. Also, Uranus, the planet of surprises, has been, all but for 4 months last year, in a very psychological part of your scope for the last 7 years and has been making you very restless at times. And that Uranus position is influential on this event. But back to the moon, if you're someone who's not really giving yourself permission to be in touch with how you feel, then the cluster of energy right at the top of your chart, which can bring success over the next half year for sure, could mean that as much as you're straining every sinew to raise your profile and be more successful, you're not feeding your soul, the root of your needs. That could be your very close relationships, it could be your family needs. It may be just time to tune out and have some rest and relaxation. So that's the big picture. So an eclipse is when the moon is in an opposition with the sun. But that energy means they're not integrated. The sun is very much about where we want to use our drive, our passion, our enthusiasm. The moon's much more receptive. It's much more nurturing. And in the precise sign of Virgo, maybe it can be a little bit of a perfectionist too. So I think to really seize the mantle when it comes to being successful, you can't ignore or cut off the needs of people close to you, the people who provide your support system. Anything to do with your home or property will need your attention as well, because the chances are you are going to be very busy. And part of the reason for that, Gemini, is Mars. Mars is very much a planet of urgency, energy, and thrust, and it's just moved into the sign of Pisces, where it will be for the next 6 weeks. It's going to give you some extra assertiveness and confidence, which is really good. But just be aware that Mars is a very contrasting energy to the moon. The moon's more sensitive, Mars is more brusque. So, as much as you can push forwards, it could see you in a way become even more focused on that success, which in itself is not a bad thing. Because, Gemini, this eclipse does have one absolutely brilliant, potentially fortunate influence, and it is involving Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of luck, but it has been in retrograde for near to 4 months. Goes direct on the 11th of March. It's in for you the second house of money. If you have felt you've been treading water around earning money or resources over that period of time, or things haven't expanded as quickly as you would like, it would be understandable. But the Sun is forging a perfect alliance to that link of Jupiter. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, so there's a mutual receptivity, and that is the trine, one of astrology's most lucky influences. But they are in water signs. The moon is very much about water and motion. So you need to be in touch with your senses and your instincts in order to capitalize on this ambitious energy. And you need to stay focused on those inner and more personal needs too. The other thing to tell you is that Venus, the planet of money, is in a very strong link with Uranus. So whilst Uranus particularly recently has been causing a very restless energy with Mars, you may have felt particularly agitated, found it hard to relax and unwind. That will ease, but that link between Venus and Uranus suggests that a brainwave you have over the next 6 months could turn out to be an absolute winner. There's lots to go for you, but the key is making sure that you are tuning into your feelings, tuning into the people around you, making sure your home is working as well as it could do. And that means if there are things that have been put off with repairs, maintenance, perhaps just being tidy if you are a little bit more relaxed in that regard is going to be important to make sure that you can seize the moment when it comes to those big aspirations. So to summarize, as far as work's concerned, I think this lunar eclipse really can be brilliant for you over the next half year, particularly as the new series that's come in the sign of Aquarius on the 17th of February is very much about expansion for you. And that's followed by a total solar eclipse in Leo on the 12th of August, which is going to see your communicational skills absolutely sparkle in the second half of this year. But we have to take into account that your ruler Mercury is retrograde. So if you rush things, you don't take account of those inner needs, it could still catch you out and trip you up. But finally, in terms of relationships, I feel that Venus Uranus link suggests that somebody rather unexpectedly, if you're single, through your work or a worldly situation, could be someone that you become more conscious of. As far as your money is concerned, I think Venus being at the top of your chart and in that very dynamic link with Uranus again, I think money can improve for you, particularly with Jupiter going direct on the 11th of March. And finally, as far as energy is concerned, Saturn, the planet which can be quite limiting, is in your sector of friendships. It may be that you do need to just be a little bit more careful about who you spend your time with. You're being asked to focus exclusively now in terms of your ambitions, but make sure the support structure, either within yourself or around you, is really enabled. Now, on the screen now, you can click on the link to watch your deep dive for March if you've yet to do so. And on the right-hand page, you can download my absolutely stunning total lunar eclipse guide. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see the testimonials below. If you'd like to take advantage of my unique combination reports, you can order your 12-month forecast, but also get your life roadmap report. That gives you searing insights into the patterns that are played out in your life so far. Everyone is totally individual to the person it's produced for. At the checkout, please apply Astro 26 and you'll get 50% off. If you'd like to understand your draconic, soul, or karmic journey, if you go to the checkout, you can order the same combination but apply Draco 26 and get 50% off.